Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Third and 20 Dynasty podcast. It's JT joined by Lunas and Frank. Jake will be with us shortly. Season 3, episode 17. We are through week 11, and I'm just going to kick us off with the news and notes. My sweet prince, Kyle Pitts, is on IR. MCL injury. It looks like he's going to need surgery. I would guess that's season ending, but that has not been made official yet, I don't think. But I don't know, guys. If you want to just laugh at me and my sorrows, it's fine.
I'm not. I mean, I love Kyle Pitts. The nightmare season seems to be at an end.
Yeah.
Um, I have no idea what to think of this season in general, I guess, if this is like the end for him or how to evaluate it. I know his value went down on keep trade cut throughout the year. I still view him as like a premium asset, like probably in terms of non QBs, he's 1 or 2, 3 maybe.
He's probably behind Justin Jefferson
and Chase.
You can make the argument about Chase because I think
Chase
is very
is
good,
close,
but he's not. Yeah. But after those two, I'm not taking any running backs over Kyle Pitts.
Me neither.
If you're a contender, look, I'm not taking Mark Andrews.
I'm not selling Kyle Pitts if I'm in any state.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, as far as like actionable advice, I'm not selling Kyle Pitts for anything. He's just going on IR. It is what it is. If I'm a contender, I don't know. Kyle Pitts wasn't really the reason that you're contending anyway, I'd say. Like, it wasn't like he was giving you like these boom weeks this year. So I guess like still business as usual. I mean,
I think there is a buy window right now. If you were, because I don't necessarily agree with that. Yeah, he wasn't great, but Kyle Pitts was still at the level where he was a plug and play tight end. Yes, he wasn't performing well. I'll give you that. But I felt like the performances at the very beginning of the season were dog shit, and he at least like leveled out to an extent. And he was seeing targets, right?
That was
what's important is that he's seeing targets.
He would have like a 30% target share, but it would be on like 20 passes. So it's like, what? Well, great.
But I think that the injury, the fact that you may have a contender in your league that
he's tight end 14 on the year, by the way.
One of those, like, let's just say, now I'm not saying necessarily to do this, but I've seen this trade done on Twitter multiple times. If you have Kelsey, you might be a contender. But if you're like, dude, fuck it, I have the opportunity where I can trade 1-for-1 Kelsey for Pitts, give a guy who's trying to make a championship run. He's gonna think that you might be handing him the championship because you're getting Kelsey, who's been absolutely fucking ridiculous this year. That's a trade I have seen done. Maybe with Andrews you can do the same thing. I don't know if that's a consensus. Like everyone wants Andrews over Pitts or vice versa. I really have no idea.
It's kind of split.
But I could see why you might not want to give up Andrews because you're like, okay, I kind of have the best of both worlds. I have a young enough tight end, and he's at least proven that he's going to be the focal point of the offense. But there's definitely a buy window, especially if you have a top tight end and you're looking to get in on Kyle Pitts at what we all believe is probably going to be the lowest price you can.
Oh, for the rest of his career.
While.
Yes. So he's like old. Yeah,
agreed. I mean,
because I think it's almost a lock for him and Drake London that this offense is going to pass the ball more at some point. I mean, it's annoying with fat Nicolas Cage there, but you just can't pour all of those assets into passing options and not try to get a quarterback or pass the ball more at some point. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
No, I expect a new quarterback next season.
I'm looking at let's see, NFL team pass attempts per game. I'm getting this stats from teamrankings.com, so hopefully
the Bears.
The Bears are lowest at 23. Atlanta's second lowest at 24.3. Now, I will say, it doesn't like there typically isn't drastic changes from year to year. However, in the case of the Atlanta Falcons, they were at 33.7 last year. They're at 22.8 actually this year. That's a giant decrease in passes. I would much more expect them to be closer to that 30, 33 amount, which would then put them middle of the league. And just being a middle of the league team is a huge boost for Drake London and Kyle Pitts. So, yeah, I agree. I think that they will see a boost at some point going into this offseason. Now looking at another player who is now going on IR is Wandale. He is done for the season. Wandale Robinson, New York Giants, promising receiver. I think he was like receiver, I don't know, 6 or something on the week. Like he had a very good week. He was producing. He had like nine targets, I think. That might be wrong. I could just pull up his stats easily while I'm saying it.
Yeah, he had like 100-something yards.
Yeah. He went off. He was doing really good. Then hurt his knee, I think, in the end of the third quarter, like late third quarter. But I don't know, guys. This was someone I was getting really excited about. I thought he was fine. He was putting it on. They always say you see an uptick in rookie wide receiver usage as the season goes on, specifically coming after the bye week. And that is what we were seeing with Wandale Robinson. Like he had 13 targets, 9 catches is what the stat I was looking for there. This is kind of just something where it's like, it sucks. Again, if you're a contender, it wasn't like he was in your plans to compete. Like he didn't put up more than 11 points before, like 11 was his max before that. I don't know. I'm just
is his price down right now from the injury? Because I think, to me, if I had Wandale, the price would have been going up right now because obviously the injury is annoying. But the fact of the matter is like you were saying, you don't have Wandale because you think he's this amazing, oh, I'm going to start him every week type of player. You were hoping that he would, you saw this type of game and then maybe for the end of the season he'd be good. And then now next year, the year after, right, that he's at least a wide receiver too.
Mm-hmm.
So like if his price isn't going down, right, let's just imagine it's stagnant from where it was basically last week, because it kind of was initially going down because he wasn't really doing much when he first came back. Are you guys like, I might be throwing my second at this guy. I got to see the market and see what's going on, but I might be doing that.
That's the internal debate.
I don't think a contender second gets it done, but I mean somewhere around there, right? Like maybe a 2 and a 3. I don't really know. It's
probably mid-second. Like
I'd imagine
205, 206 probably gets you one.
Yeah, I would imagine if whoever has Wandale would have. My guess was going to be like it would take 204 to get it from them.
Because I wasn't huge on Wandale, but the thing that I like about him is that they're manufacturing plays for him.
Yeah.
Like they are like 100%. They looked at his talent and was like, okay, we need to get this guy the football. And it worked. And that was about the only receiver that it's really worked for it with potentially any consistency on that football team. So yeah, they'll bring in weapons, but I'm not sure that that's going to change next year if you get him back. That, even if he's the second option on that football team, I still think that he gets the same amount of manufactured targets that he was getting that last game. What's going on, Skull Dynasty? How you doing?
It's cool. Yeah, this to me doesn't really change anything really. I guess I'd be more inclined to buy him than sell him. But I'm not throwing anything more than like a mid-second am because I just think you can get good, solid wide receivers in the early second this year. And they're not going to be carrying this ACL injury going into next year. So, yeah, to me, it's, I don't know. It's not that big of an issue, I feel like. It's just whatever. Like, whatever you thought of him about before this is probably what you think about him now. I don't know. It's not that important, I guess. What I do find important, though, and I'm just going to move us on to the next segment, is Justin Fields' shoulder. Apparently, he has a dislocated shoulder, and that, for some reason, it's his left shoulder. That all of a sudden made Baker Mayfield the worst quarterback in the NFL last year, him getting his shoulder injured. Justin Fields, obviously, different skill set than Baker Mayfield, but Matty Eberflus was saying he might play this week. He might be out for the rest of the season. He was non-committal as to what's going on with Justin Fields. I don't know what I even want to have happen. Like, if I have Justin Fields, right, I think I'd rather him just, assuming I'm not a contender, I would just rather have him not play, just have the Bears get a better pick. I was about to get more injured. Yeah, Lewis?
No, it's fair. I was about to say, though, with the not a contender part, I think that's a big key thing because if you are a contender or even just a playoff team, he's been such like a boost and almost hack for your lineup over the past over a month. He's been like pretty easily QB1 over the past 5 weeks and giving you like these 40+ point performances. So losing him for any kind of contender sucks. Oh, hey Jake, what's going on?
Wait, hold on, Jake, you're not in. Hold on.
Jake's not in, but I'm going to tee Jake up with this question as he's getting in here and getting him caught up. We're talking about Justin Fields, Jake, his shoulder injury. I'm saying I'm not a contender. I just want him to sit the rest of the season. Like, I just want the Bears to get a better draft pick. But more so, the question is, do you think Justin Fields is going to be out for the rest of the year? Like, do we think this is a season-ending injury? The Bears are just going to say, hey, we're going to shut you down?
I do not. I think the Bears are going to let him play. I think the Bears have won a couple games in a row now, and they're going to want to see what Justin Fields can do. Obviously, he's looked really good the past few weeks, leading the league in rushing, all that kind of stuff. But, I just think they want to make sure that they get what they saw the past few weeks and make sure that's legit, because otherwise they're going to be looking at other quarterbacks. I don't think that's the way that's going to end up. I think they're going to end up being happy with Justin Fields. But with that being said, I think they'll want to see him play.
See, for me, though, with that is like, I don't think anything post this is going to change my opinion on him like drastically. Like, it's either like maybe they got sold over the past month and like, this is our guy. But it's like, if that's the case and it was leaning that way, if he comes back from like a dislocated shoulder and doesn't look as good, like, I'm not going to like hold that against him a ton and suddenly think he might not be the guy.
I'm still trying to transition Justin Fields into Kyler Murray.
Oh,
Agreed.
definitely.
I mean, I think that's just the smart play.
And now with especially if you're a contender, like those trades that I was saying last week, I think the price has gone up on Justin Fields. So I'd be like trying even harder to do those moves. Transitioning him, you could probably get a second, if not more, on top of Dak Prescott.
Well, you could get more than a second.
Yeah, like if you can get more than a second on top of Dak Prescott and you're a contender, because this does scare me a little bit.
I would much rather trade for Kyler Murray if I can, but yeah, the pivoting to Dak Prescott and getting Prescott plus is very nice off Fields.
Or even, me personally, I would pivot onto Trevor Lawrence.
That one,
just because I think that's a really good value play come next season.
That one, I'm like, I think it's.
It depends what on top of Lawrence, but I don't hate any. I like the Lawrence and Kyler ones the most. Dak, I'm like, it depends on what on top of the second.
All right, but it seems like conspiracy JT would rather just have him not play, but it seems like we will be still.
I feel like he's gonna play, dude.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Like you said, Baker played through. I think others have played through.
Yeah, you just put a harness on or that's what Baker did at least and was able to. It's the non-throwing shoulder, but it does impact. But even when we just talked about the Bears passed the least amount in the league, so who cares? It's whatever. I'm just going to move on, though, to the next topic, which is the Jets. And we had a very funny episode a few weeks ago where Frank and Lunas were going at it over whether Zach Wilson was good or not. Lunas was throwing out some hypothetical arguments, and then Frank had enough of it and said, you're doing all these hypotheticals, and Luna said Zach Wilson effing sucks. How's that for a hypothetical? It looks like the whole community is now on Lunas's side of Zach Wilson.
Nothing hypothetical about it.
Yeah.
I know. I think it's kind of an interesting crossroads now for anyone who has Zach Wilson.
There's no crossroads. He sucks.
He does suck. But it's like, no, it's the crossroads of like, do you literally sell now to anyone for anything you can get? Or do you wait for it to potentially get better or worse?
I think the answer is always, what can you get off Zach Wilson?
I think it's foolish to sell right now. I think that it's just foolish because at the fact I have a self-imposed pound face. There's no way.
If he gets officially benched, the value tanks even more.
I will say, not to get us off topic too much, but as far as the clown face goes, I'm getting that clown face for the bet I made with Lunas over David Bell versus Christian Watson. But yeah, as far as Zach Wilson, I'm looking at where Zach Wilson's rated on Keep Trade Cut. Oh, yeah. I think it's only going to go down. He's next to Elijah Mitchell, Alan Lazard, James Conner, Josh Palmer. Like, these guys to me are not like they're not winning you weeks. They're not all of a sudden going to be like these top tier guys. Neither is Zach Wilson, but
here's the problem. Here's the problem, right?
What was the draft pick equivalent, real quick, before?
Late second, 2023 late second. Yeah.
Here's the problem: is that why would you sell now? It's like the first thing is that to me, right? Like everyone's going to compare him to Sam Darnold. The season he's had so far is not that Sam Darnold season. There was zero hope in that Sam Darnold season. There was no flash. There was one throw. That was basically the only positive he had.
I'm remembering.
So
he had a sick run too. He had a sick run on Thursday Night Football.
Hold on, real quick.
Is that not Zach
At least Zach Wilson has had good games, right? He's had decent games. He's had games where he's looked good. Every game he has throws that look good. And the other problem I have with selling him right now is that you're acting like this guy's not going to get a second chance. Like if Baker Mayfield has gotten a second chance, if Sam Darnold has gotten a second chance,
this rewriting the narrative,
Winston has gotten a second chance, if Ryan Tannehill has gotten a second chance, you're telling me that if the Jets move on from Zach Wilson and say, okay, we're going to trade you for whatever we can get, that a team isn't going to take a chance on him? I think that it's foolish.
The rewriting of the Baker Mayfield narrative and putting this Zach Wilson into the same conversation as him, as if Baker Mayfield didn't have like one of the best rookie season quarterbacks ever, didn't bring the Browns to the playoffs and help win against the Steelers. Like Baker Mayfield is not Zach Wilson. Jameis Winston at least threw a bunch of touchdown passes. I know it came with a bunch of interceptions too, but Jameis Winston was also like just a gung-slinging kind of quarterback. Zach Wilson is just a very shy, I'm going to run 20 yards to the right, 20 yards to the left. I'm going to throw it out of bounds. Half the time I'm going to miss out of bounds. I'm going to throw it to a defender and hopefully he drops it and it's not another interception. But like Zach Wilson, I think I was the lowest on out of him. I was the lowest on Zach Wilson out of this group going into the draft. Then coming into the season, I was significantly higher on Zach Wilson because I'm a fool, but I was like, he is surrounded by good weapons. He has Corey Davis, who I really like, and that's his third receiver. Like he's got Elijah Moore. Again, fool. That's his second receiver.
If he got a second chance, how many better situations is he getting than the one he has right now?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at.
The Jets right now. I think you guys are overrating how good the situation is because they've lost basically all of their good offensive linemen. They've lost 3 starters, 2 of their best. They don't have Corey Davis playing. Like, okay, it's not like terrible, the situation. Like he played like shit that last game, but I went back. I watched the all 22 back. And I just think that a lot of these other Jets players are being not blamed for some of the poor play. Like, yeah, Zach Wilson played like shit, but at least a lot of the problems are down to 2 things. One, majorly his footwork. His footwork is dog shit whenever he's even slightly under pressure. And 2, the timing due to his footwork, right? He's taken like way too many 5-step drops when they should be 3-step drops. A lot of like 5 and a hitch when it should be 5 no hitch, right? And in this West Coast offense, that completely fucking bones you. Like that is the difference. But like, remember that out route late in the game that was almost picked off? Like that's the difference, right? Between a completion 5 and a hitch versus 5 no hitch. That's a completion, right? And it's just a little minor difference. Clearly, he's not comfortable in this offense. And the other problem I've had with Zach Wilson, though, is that it feels like the problems that he's had, the bad plays that he's had in previous games, instead of learning from it in a good way, he's like, oh shit, now I'm scared that this is going to happen. So like, let's say he made a bad read against like a hitch seam. The next time he goes about that same play, he's just assuming if he sees the same coverage that the same problem is going to happen. And that's leading him to make these mistakes and miss open guys. But the fact of the matter is, he still has a ton of talent, right? He still has, like, the guy's talent is still off the charts. Every game he makes throws that shows you the talent. It's just this, it's the level of consistency that needs to improve. And I think that selling him for pennies on the dollar right now is foolish.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I agree with Frank. Hold on one second, Liz. I agree with Frank in that aspect where it's just like, you see all of these players get traded for essentially more than what Zach Wilson's getting traded for in terms of like Ryan Fitzpatrick on the Washington Commanders, Taylor Heineke when he's filling in for Ryan Fitzpatrick on the Washington Commanders. Hell, we've seen Sam Darnold and the second in our home league get traded for a first. I think that's what the trade was. It might have been even worse than that, to be honest. But like Mitch Trubisky gets traded for a second. You know, all these, Ben Roethlisberger without an arm gets traded for a second. Like, we do have this guy who eternal optimism is going to reign true. They are going to see his good throws, and you're going to have some kind of chance where you could sell Zach Wilson for more. So I think selling Zach Wilson now is a mistake. But I mean, in terms of like, is he the guy? Is he not the guy? I'm firmly now in the camp of he is not the guy.
The reason I say now is because he can get benched. He can get benched any week now. And as soon as that happens, you won't be able to get that second round pick on the table anymore.
I think that kind of is priced in of him getting benched. And in Superflex, I think with quarterbacks,
not fully yet.
See, I disagree with that though, because if he gets benched and then, you know, at that point, I feel like if he gets benched this week, then the relationship between him and the Jets is just tarnished. He's going to be traded at the end of the year then, right?
It's over.
Yeah. It's over. I think that he's too, like, the profile he had out of the draft, the flashes that he's shown, he will get at least a shot in camp to be the starter with a team that desperately needs a quarterback. That's 100%.
There are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, and there are not many quarterbacks that have been deemed good that are going to be.
And that's fair. I wouldn't be shocked if he does get a second chance. I don't really fully believe in him in that second chance. I don't know. I think that's
but you don't even need to.
Just this situation.
If you don't believe in him, you just sell on the hype of him getting traded.
How much hype is there going to be though for that?
I mean, we saw it with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was terrible on the Panthers, terrible, but he ran it in like 3 times, and all of a sudden he's, you know, you could sell him for a lot. Like, you don't need a whole lot to get it going, like to make him worth anything. And Zach Wilson at least is like a more exciting kind of player in theory. I mean, I just don't know if he'll actually.
It's just an unconventional situation, because it's not even like an ideal situation where it's like, if the Jets are giving up on him this early, he's not an ideal to another team, like to possibly be your backup. Because the backup, most of the time, you just kind of want veterans who can make the easy throws and run a simplistic version of your offense. Zach Wilson can't make the easy decisions. It's like,
I wish we could have seen what Josh Rosen. I don't think we have the update, like anything. What Josh Rosen would have went for when Kyler Murray got drafted, and what you could have got for Josh Rosen. Because I think a second was probably still in that conversation. And Josh Rosen was flat out bad.
Well, I mean, Josh Rosen, there was also like some off the field issues and things that happened, right? And he is a guy that, I mean, he was bounced around. I mean, it was like the whole thing. Remember in the draft that it's like, oh, he just doesn't give a fuck.
Oh,
and apparently that was true. He just,
but you could say the same off the field stuff about in terms of being like arrogant or cocky with Zach Wilson just happened this week after the game.
Yeah, but it's not, dude. It's not the same as Josh Rosen. Come on, you don't remember those narratives that he just didn't give a shit?
I remember those narratives, and now I'm seeing the narratives with Zach Wilson that he avoids accountability.
Okay, that was off of that press conference. Yeah, I agree. That was dumb. That was dumb.
Not a good press
but that is completely different from someone in your pre-draft evaluation, like coaches and people going to you saying, oh yeah, this guy doesn't give a shit, versus, oh, he had a dumbass answer in a press conference.
I mean, that's fair. Jake,
come on, you have to see the distinction between the two. Those are wildly different.
I know it's different situations, but I'm saying it's another thing added on to this whole Zach Wilson situation. I don't know.
All right, now going forward though, really quickly, because I know this is going to be a take that you guys are going to disagree with, and okay. I understand.
Fire it.
But if you are the Jets, I feel like you have to keep playing him, and the reason why is because I just think you are throwing if you start Joe Flacco or Mike White, because you're not going to win the Super Bowl with them. You're just flat out not.
You're not, but I don't know. They're trying.
So what's the point? So then what's the point? You can either stick it out.
Who gives them a better chance to win the game
right now?
Why
this
does
Sunday.
that matter though? If you guys
build-
agree with me, you are guaranteed to not win the Super Bowl.
That's
Yes,
yeah,
but
they
they're not
win
going to win the Super
but
Bowl
that-
with Zach Wilson either.
That's
so it doesn't matter.
that's a huge deal for the Jets to reach the playoffs. They haven't in forever.
See, this is why I think it's throwing. I think you're giving in to the fans who just want to change because they saw him playing poorly. The best course of action is you keep playing the dude to see if he's able to figure it out now that the pressure is on.
I mean, listen, they're not going to bench Zach Wilson. I don't think they should bench Zach Wilson, but I do think like the thought has now crossed people's minds, and it's just something that now Zach Wilson has to come out and prove he's the starter because he's not the guaranteed starter anymore just because he was the number 2 overall pick. So I do think he is the guy moving forward, but I would still sell him as soon as possible. Maybe let his value go up a couple weeks, let people forget about this bench talk, and then once he puts together 2 or 3 decent games, just immediately sell him off. And here's why. You're telling me about all these receivers that you should trade them after the first year if they don't produce. And I know it's a different position, but you're being an apologist on Zach Wilson here. I'm just going to say it.
Oh.
Yeah, I am, but why would I sell for a late second? I just think that's fucking dumb.
Because you can you might have invested a first into him. Cash out while you still can before he's worth literally nothing.
I would rather take the chance on him being a starter for the Jets and or another team, which I feel like I've got 2 shots right now because I don't think he will get benched. So I've got a shot now, and I've got a shot if he does get benched at a second team, and I'm going to sell that for a late second?
You can try to get him in. I wouldn't like a late second. I'd preferably like, if it's going to be late, like I don't want like 211, probably like if you can somehow get 208. 208 I would sign off on.
I'd rather bet on the upside. I just think we've seen it too many times with quarterbacks that, especially recently, have been drafted in the top 10 picks.
Outside of Ryan Tannehill,
Jameis Winston, Baker Mayfield,
all of these
Jared
guys had
Goff,
much more success
Sam Darnold,
in their first or second
Carson
year.
Wentz.
all have had more success.
They all reached the point where the fans wanted them to get benched.
Not in their first.
Yeah,
the first 2
the point
years.
is those guys reached a high that Zach Wilson hasn't even come close to yet. So they earned the respect for that second chance.
He's been statistically the worst starting quarterback.
He
the past
hasn't
2
earned
seasons.
anything.
I think he's going to get another chance. I think he's too talented. It's plain and simple.
I'm not selling for that late second right now. I don't want to be on the same side as Frank because Frank's like very gung ho about Zach Wilson. I'm not.
I
just think it's
how about this? Which quarterback drafted in the top 10 picks hasn't gotten a second chance, not named Josh Rosen the past couple seasons? Even fucking Drew Lock got a second chance, and he was a 2nd round pick.
He didn't get a second chance. He's
done.
What do you
mean? He was literally
he
traded to Seattle. It just Geno Smith became fucking insane.
He could have won the Seattle starting job.
It was a QB battle in training camp, yeah, sure. But I think the same thing's gonna happen to Wilson wherever he goes. But
Mitch Trubisky got a second chance.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Trubisky, all these guys were way more successful in their first 2 seasons than Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
pull up the numbers side by side.
Why did you bring someone up that's not named Josh Rosen?
I don't know. Has there been a top 10 pick recently that's been this bad in their first 2 seasons?
You're gonna make me look up all quarterbacks drafted.
That was like this bad in their first 2 years.
History.
Like I know some had a really bad rookie year, but then decent second year.
Blake Bortles.
Didn't Blake Bortles though have like 20+ touchdown passes the second year?
He almost got him to the Super Bowl. Blake Bortles could have got.
Yeah, but then he was never got a second chance.
So interesting ones are Dwayne Haskins, which for obvious reasons. Dwayne Haskins. No one really else. Marcus Mariota got a second chance. James Winston got a second chance. Johnny Manziel, but he's
all the guys who haven't got second chances have clear off the field issues, which hasn't happened, at least to my knowledge, is not the case with Zach Wilson.
EJ Manuel.
EJ Manuel was like a second round pick.
Blaine Gabbert.
Jake Locker, Blaine Gabbert. Blaine Gabbert didn't really get a second chance at a starter, but he's still in the league.
I'm not going to count Tim Tebow. Josh Freeman. I don't know. We're going back.
League.
We're going back a lot of years here.
But I don't know either way. He might. I think he'd probably lose the QB battle, but I don't know. I'm out on him.
Yeah,
What's the highest price you'd buy low for, Frank?
I want to buy for those like mid-late seconds. I would buy. I'm thinking about offering them out right now in leagues.
What's the highest you'd go on it? Like if you were negotiating with someone, like
You
I don't want to go more than that. I don't want to go more.
No. I mean like within those late picks. Like, are you saying like?
Oh, if I had to
the
give an
highest
exact
you'd go
pick,
is- Yeah. We'll say like late second.
208.
Okay,
That's
208.
not bad.
I don't want to give an early second round pick because I know that if he gets benched, I can pick him up for even cheaper.
No, that's true. His value.
Yeah, okay. Late second. I don't know if
going
I
on
trade.
PPR?
I don't know if I trade draft pick, but if I could trade like Alan Lazard for Zach Wilson straight up, like hell yeah, I'm doing that. Like, oh my god, Alan Lazard, I think is toast. And they're
Now
right
that strategy I don't mind, just because
Yeah.
if you can transition from a guy that I don't like into that,
There's a lot of in the Zach Wilson like sphere of influence, like who's currently around him. There are a lot of, and I think he's only going down at this point. I don't think he's going up. There's a lot of players that are listed like right around him, above him, that I would just trade them immediately for, like Jamal Williams for Zach Wilson straight up. Like definitely, he's ranked.
I mean stuff like that, yeah, but
Jamal Wilson's the 125th ranked player on ranked. This includes draft picks, but 125th ranked on keep trade cut. Zach Wilson's 135th. Like Devin Singletary, Isaiah Likely, Alec Pierce. Like I'm trading all these players for Zach Wilson straight up because I just like these guys aren't. So that I would do, but when you get into the terms of like picks and everything, I think that's kind of sketchy, and I don't know where I would draw.
Yeah,
the
I
line.
agree. I'd rather buy for some players than a similar ranked player than that. Joe Flacco easily worth an early 23 first and
I
first.
did see Pizarro block.
Actually,
Third
quick
league.
aside: if Zach Wilson is benched, I believe it's Mike White that is now the starter.
Okay.
I think
not a-
Mike White is the actual backup. So if Mike White is on your waiver wires, he's definitely worth a waiver claim right now.
I will say I'm not 100% sure. I know that Joe Flacco filled in for Zach Wilson at the beginning of the season when Zach Wilson wasn't active.
Apparently, Mike White had usurped Joe Flacco as the backup.
usurped
though.
Flacco. Okay.
Apparently,
because I
he
know
had.
recently Mike White had been like the backup who gets dressed. But I wonder if in a situation where you know Zach Wilson's out entirely, they would consider Flacco.
Dude, come on. If you're the
he's a
Jets,
veteran.
like, we saw this dance already, like 3 fucking times with Flacco. Like, we
he
know
leads them
you
in
got
touchdown
Flacco.
passes. Yeah,
But the thing is that you know, starting Flacco does nothing but put this franchise back because the
they
thing
can
is,
make the playoffs.
oh, dude, that doesn't fucking matter. That doesn't matter. It's the same
Yes,
thing
it-
as in fantasy football. Cool, you made the playoffs. Congratulations. It does nothing for you. Cool. Oh, you get a high five. Good job, Robert Saleh. You made the playoffs and got bounced in the first round. What
That's
does
a big
that
deal
do?
for a
The
new
goal
coach.
is not.
That's a
it-
big deal for a new coaching staff.
No, it's not. It's a good deal in the short term, but when push comes to shove, if you have a shit year the next year, that playoff appearance means jack fucking shit.
They're already
Dude, ask Doug Peterson how those playoff appearances and a Super Bowl treated him once he had one bad year. It means nothing. The
Ironic.
goal is to win the Super Bowl or set yourself up to win the Super Bowl. Starting Flacco does neither. At least Mike White, maybe he's improved after sitting on the bench, and that like 5 pick in the first half game was just him getting a little too cocky or something, right? Maybe he'll show you something we haven't seen. Or you bring in Strevler and he shows you something. Flacco does nothing for you. It does nothing for your franchise. And it does nothing for your fantasy team.
I don't know. Garrett Wilson looked great with Flacco.
Garrett Wilson's looked great with everyone. Like you're telling me Garrett Wilson hasn't had 100-yard games with Zach Wilson too?
I mean, if you compare his points per game in the Flacco starts versus Zach Wilson starts, there'll be a difference.
Oh, obviously, because the one game that he went nuclear when they got the onside kick. Like, yeah. But if you're going, if you're thinking that Flacco's the answer, I'm sorry, Lunas, that's ridiculous.
I'm not saying he's the answer. I'm saying he might give them the best out of the three options right now, which isn't saying much. It's Zach Wilson and Mike White. I'm not saying he's like a top 32 quarterback. I don't think any of the three are.
I just think JT has mentioned this multiple times. If you're in that purgatory, you have to err on the side of future. Like, I think the same thing applies to this situation. There's no point. You're just sticking yourself in purgatory if you start Joe Flacco.
This JT guy sounds like a real genius. All right, classic Zach Wilson episode again. I'm just gonna move us to another starting quarterback getting a job, and
We know Jets will make the wrong decision.
yeah, that's true. Jets will make the wrong decision. I love it as a Patriots fan. But speaking of quarterbacks losing their job, Carson Wentz has officially lost his job to Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke's named the starter. When asked why Ron Rivera wanted to make the change, he said, "Winning." That's why. And the Commanders have won with Taylor Heineke. We all knew. We were talking about the incentives. I don't know, maybe like week 3 or week 4 of the season with Carson Wentz and how many snaps he played or whatever, and what the pick upgraded to if he played that certain amount. Clearly, that's not going to happen. The Commanders, I think, are well aware of that as well. And I mean, they've just been a better team with Taylor Heineke. I am kind of disappointed because I thought we would be seeing Sam Howell, but to me,
you can't bench Heineke.
Yeah, it's hard to bench Taylor Heineke when he's been winning all these games.
You lose the locker room if you bench Heineke.
You have to sell Heineke right now. Yeah,
okay.
You should have sold him.
No, you're not wrong with that. I actually think you could probably sell him more now than you could last year. But yeah, no, for sure. I think. Do you think there's any chance they don't bring in someone else and they roll with Heineke next year?
It's not worth taking the risk.
It's the Commander, so there's like a little percentage of me that's like, maybe they roll with Heineke.
I mean, they're not. What's their record right now? They're gonna be middle of the pack. Yeah, they're gonna be middle of the pack of his draft. So maybe they do.
Yeah, but the problem is that
I agree,
Taylor Heineke doesn't have that upside. And at the end of the day, in the modern NFL, either he has to basically make the NFC Championship, and even then, like a guy like Keenum didn't get a second shot. So, like, okay, maybe he has to make the Super Bowl. Or he just has to go completely fucking nuclear. Other than that, it's like the percentage, like if you're just playing the odds, there's like a 99% chance that he is not a starter 2 years from now.
I just don't know what you're getting for a high. Like you're gonna have to do like some kind of.
For a third, sold him twice.
For a third?
Yeah, but
I think you could do it. You might even be able to do Heineke in a 3 for a 2.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the route
that would be.
Down.
I would do either. One of those thirds looking pretty early too. I'm pretty sure I got an early third for him.
I have Taylor Heineke, and while we're doing this podcast, I'm just going to do it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, unfortunately for you, a third of the league is right here.
Hey, well, all right. Before I waste my time sending it to you three, like, do any of you want Taylor Heineke?
No, I don't want Taylor Heineke.
Lunas?
For a third?
It would be Taylor Heineke in a third for a second.
Oh, fuck out of here.
All right, so
what would you take him for a third, straight up, a late third?
I would think about a late third.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if I want to sell him for a third.
I was gonna say like a third is fair, but I'm not. God no,
like every single one done. I don't think I sold him twice. So whatever. Yeah, I love Taylor Heineke. The guy is fucking awesome. I think it's a great story. I love the way he plays. He plays hard.
He'll be a backup for a while.
I'm not dealing with the shits at quarterback unless I'm playing a value game. If you suck, I'm gonna sell you, right? Like especially when you don't have elite level upside. There's no point. You're just gonna get burnt a year or two from now.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree. You could just get half the time. There's in Superflex it's hard, but it always feels like half the time there is some kind of quarterback that's available off waivers every week that you could just get that will outproduce him.
Yeah, dude, every couple of years there's a guy, a Minshew or a Keenum who kind of just like sticks around. They play well enough. They're gamers, right? They can win you a football game, but they're just not at the level that they're ever going to be a franchise quarterback.
No.
And I'm not even sure Heineke is particularly close. I love the guy. I love watching him play. He's a cool guy. I'd love to sit down and have a beer with him, but not on my fantasy team. I don't.
You tell them while I'm getting drinks, like, yeah, I shipped your ass off for any 30.
Dude, you're at the bar with your fantasy team open. You're just like, what up, Heineke? Like,
he sees you dropping.
And he's out here being like, you just traded me for the pick that became nobody.
Nobody, yeah.
But yeah, whatever. You get the fucking point.
Mhm.
I wanted to bring this segment up. Najee Harris. I'm not sure if you guys caught the Steelers game a couple days ago, or the game against the Saints 2 weeks ago. Especially last week, though, Najee Harris looks like he has really turned the corner, and this mental funk he was in, this little bullshit that he was doing, seems to have been put by the wayside, because I see the Najee Harris that we kind of saw back at Alabama, that we saw his rookie year. Dude, the cuts that he was making, the vision that we saw, the power that he brought to the table, looks like Najee Harris is back. So I just wanted to bring up the discussion. Najee Harris's price has gone massively down to the point where he was just about like at a late first round valuation.
He was at a late first.
If he really has turned the corner, right? Is this the type of person that we should be looking at buying as a Josh Jacob-esque guy, where yes, he has this blemish on his resume, but he could be a type of player that for the next couple of seasons gives you this just underrated level of low-end RB1 production?
What do you think?
It's tough. That's a tough one. I lean on the side of get me the fuck out now while people still value him high. And like I'm saying high is in like a first round pick, just because Najee's not the player I'm here to stick around and find out. I just rather cash out and re-roll, if I'm going to be honest here, or even transition him into someone that I'm more comfortable with. Yes, he has looked better. Yes, he still has that top back upside, but he still scares the shit out of me. And I would rather be more comfortable in a draft, high end draft pick, or another player that I like more.
I'm 0 for 2 on the Heineke trades, by the way. For the draft pick, just give me the draft pick. You know how I feel about Najee Harris. I just think the draft pick's more exciting.
So you guys are taking a late first over Najee?
Yes.
I think I'd take Najee over a late first. I think a late first is a little bit too low. If it was maybe like 107, 108, I'll hear you out. But if we're talking like, I don't know, like 110, I think I should keep Najee. I did see, and Frank, let me know if there's any truth to this. I don't know if it was like actually verified reporter on Twitter, but they did say like he had a foot thing during the summer, earlier in the season.
Yeah, he did have some foot thing in training camp.
And they said that they think it's still been bothering him throughout the year, and he might now just be getting healthy. If that's the case, that has to be encouraging then. If he's like finally feeling healthy, maybe that's kind of why he looked slower earlier in the year. I think at late first, he was just his value last summer compared to the late first now. It's hard for me to like completely fall out of him when like the Steelers offense hasn't been good this year in general. Like I'm sure you guys aren't lower on Deontay, even though he's kind of more dependent on the QB play, but Deontay is having like a down year, but we still view him as the talent that he is. So I don't know, like I'm obviously lower on Najee than I was last year, but for a late first, I don't know. I think I lean Frank's side.
I think I'm buying. I mean, listen, I'm not sure you can get at that price, especially if the Najee owner has seen the past 2 weeks and the fantasy number that has coincided.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit too late, but I think it was something that kind of, I think there may still be people like Jake where they're like, okay, I thought this guy was my Jonathan Taylor. Turns out he's a Trent Richardson, and if I can get out for a first round pick, or maybe like, some little bullshit on top of a first, right? Like you do some sort of like player swap of sorts, right? To something to sweeten the deal a little bit from the Najee guy perspective, that you could be getting a back that you can just hold for the next couple of seasons and he's your dynasty RB2. Because I have a team with Josh Jacobs. I was trying to sell Josh Jacobs in this offseason. I'm really happy I didn't because for the past 2 years and now this year, he's been a really solid back on a team that's won the championship. So I think that right now, Najee, we all agreed he was overpriced in the offseason. Now that his value is like a third, half of what it was.
I just
Yeah, it's close to a third already.
I'm barely paying a late first for Javonte Williams, and I like Javonte Williams.
Oh,
a significant
you
amount
barely
more.
paying a late first for Javonte?
Yeah, I'm just not in the business of trading first for running backs if I can avoid it, unless I think they're like
Okay.
game breaking kind of running backs. Like, I'll
What
give
if you're a contender? Like, let's just say it's the contender first. Do you still win?
he's just not. He's just a very volume dependent running back, and at that point, I'm not doing it. I'm not giving up that kind of value for Najee Harris. I'd rather pay down a well. Actually, now I don't know if it's down a little bit, but I would rather just get Josh Jacobs than Najee Harris.
I think the real contender buy right now, if you need a running back, is James Conner. Because he's still worth less than a first. And the guy literally is playing like the entire fucking game.
It's the same guy. It's James Conner, it's Cordell Patterson, and I'm gonna still even lump Leonard Fournette in there, even though I know there's been debates about whether Rashad White is taking
Rashad White is coming.
I don't care about Rashad White, so I'm gonna keep him in there. It's the same guys. I think that's always been. All right, Najee Harris talk. My guy, Lewis was on here. He knew I wasn't on the pod to defend him, so he started.
I didn't say Tony over Burks.
But you put that conversation out there, and that's enough.
I did. I said it was hard for me to choose between them.
That's enough for me because Treylon Burks is significantly better than Kadarius Toney. Always has been, always will be. And he went for on 50% of snaps. I'm putting myself on the clock here. 50% of the snaps, Treylon Burks managed to give us $116 on 8 targets. 8 targets, $116. That has to put him at a really high target share because Ryan Tannehill, only passed 27 times. So that's
I will say Tannehill was fantastic that game.
That's over a 25% target share for Treylon Burks easily. I don't know. Coming back from turf toe, I was pretty worried about Treylon Burks, to be completely honest, because like, well, it's turf toe, it's a bad injury. I mean, we just saw not entirely his fault because the Vikings offense was a complete mess, but Justin Jefferson has mild turf toe and he was held pretty quiet against the Cowboys. So I was worried about Treylon Burks, and then he just popped for seven catches, 111 yards. Now, I mean, a lot of it did come kind of near the end of the game. He had a long reception, but I mean, that is kind of his game play. Is he's a yards after catch guy. He's a run down the field guy. And to me, it's very exciting that he had 8 targets, which over 30% target share. I'll repeat that again, on only 50% of the snaps. He was only out there half the time, and he managed to do that. So I'm still very much in on Treylon Burks. I'm very much a believer on Treylon Burks. I don't know where you guys fall on this.
I think the question I have is, has his value from this one game gone up too far?
Well, we are going to see him on the Dynasty stock market, which we're doing right after this if you're sticking along.
Because he went up to like 4,800. It's like the same price that he was at in the draft.
I think he just returned back to where he should have been. Like he got knocked for an injury that wasn't season ending. He was only out for, I don't know, like 5-6 weeks. Like, it was kind of unfair to knock him so far down. It was more so that people around him were doing like Chris Olave's kind of popped, Garrett Wilson. George Pickens hasn't like completely popped, but he's had like very big highlight plays, so that's boosted his value a decent amount too. I think it's more so he was a victim to his environment than to actually Treylon Burks, if that makes sense. So I think it's fine that his value. I'll say this. I think that's probably where Treylon Burks' value actually has always been for if you had Treylon Burks, but I think that's where the flaw of keep trade cut is, where it's just like, if I don't have Treylon Burks and I'm doing the keep trade cut, he's hurt, trade or cut, whatever. I think that's kind of where the discrepancy, what we call the Joe Mixon paradox, kind of lies, is right there.
People I was gonna say people who had him weren't selling for less than that value.
If I wanted to
Especially he
sell,
wasn't on the field a ton.
what do you think the price I could get for him is in terms? Can I get a 1 and a 3, like just random firsts?
Oh, if it's a random first, yeah. I mean,
I
here
would
it
assume,
says
yeah.
he's right next to a 23 late first or a 2024 mid first.
Because I've been thinking about
grab
just
her.
selling for the reroll. I don't know. I'm very torn on him because I do really
liked
like
him.
Treylon. It's just
I was impressed.
I mean, if I'm comparing him to receivers that are coming out this year,
Would you rather
probably
have
be
Would you rather have Burks or Jordan Addison?
they're just very different players. I think just based on the look, based on
The answer is Jordan Addison.
yeah. I was gonna
Yes.
say based on the hype, I think I'm still just gonna take Addison because I think I could trade Addison for more. In a vacuum, I really like what Treylon Burks has been doing. It's very encouraging. But they're similar, and to me, that's what's Jordan Addison. He's like a mid first probably.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think my problem is that I just feel like I've seen a lot more out of Garrett Wilson and Drake London and some of the other like
To be fair,
even
they've
when
been
I
on the field way more though.
they have. And this one's going to be a little bit of a stretch. And I understand that the profile of Jahan Dotson's not as good as Treylon Burks. And recently, the production has not been there. But from what we saw really early in the season, I was very impressed by Jahan Dotson. I just think that situation that he's in is rough. And he's playing through injury right now, which is a little bit rough.
You take
And-
Dotson over Burks?
I would not take Dotson over Burks, but at cost, I think I
at
would
cost.
rather invest in Dotson than I would in Burks.
Okay, so you would tear down from Burks into him.
And I just feel like at that face value, that keep trade cut of price of Burks, I think I might just rather have the reroll because if you were to ask me who I think he's closer to, Garrett Wilson or Jahan Dotson, I think I'm firmly saying Dotson.
I'm very high on Garrett Wilson at this point, seeing what he's done, but I'm also not I'm pretty low on Jahan Dotson, relatively speaking. So I mean, Millman JT here is probably saying I see him more in the middle. I guess I would more lean towards Garrett Wilson than I would Jahan Dotson, just because I think I see Treylon Burks mattering, having a high end, wide receiver 2 season, maybe fringe wide receiver 1 if he gets it to. That's actually
so.
Tough to
What
say.
would you want to buy if you like Treylon Burks and you think he's closer to a guy like Garrett Wilson? What is your ideal buy point?
Well, look, I don't like doing the picks for the wide receiver. Like I don't like giving up my. I do it a lot, which I'm guilty of, but it's not good practice. Like I would rather trade players
I don't think
around.
trading first for a young wide receiver that you like is a bad deal.
It's not great from a value perspective because you could just use that first and then draft a wide receiver who might pop for more, like what we saw with Chris Olave, like what's happening with Drake London. But in terms of like players, well, first off, I mean, Jameson Williams hasn't played a snap and he's ranked above Treylon Burks
As he should be.
by a decent. So I would just trade George Pickens. I would trade straight for Treylon Burks. I know Jake definitely will disagree with that, but like I would trade these guys straight for Treylon Burks. Going down the list, I know Tony Pollard. We're going to talk about him, but I trade him straight for Treylon Burks. Josh Jacobs, same thing. Devontae Smith, same thing. There's a lot of players that are ranked above him that I would trade straight for Treylon Burks.
Devontae Smith's an interesting one because at least with Treylon right now, he is that alpha type of dude. And if he takes over the offense, right, like we saw it with AJ Brown, what the upside is, what the ceiling is.
And
they drafted this guy to be AJ Brown.
On the flip side, there are players underneath him that I might just be like, yeah, I could flip Treylon Burks and get him plus. Like I'm looking, he's ranked decently above DJ Moore. I'll always fall into the buy DJ Moore category. Deontay Johnson, he's ranked a decent amount.
Are DJ Moore and Deontay Johnson going to be like the consensus buy lows this offseason?
I would bet.
Yeah.
Dude, something that's interesting I'm just seeing, I'm looking at AJ Brown's rookie season. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
AJ Brown kind of came out of the gate hot.
Not
he got hurt.
He had a couple. I mean, he had some big receptions, right? But he was hovering around similar snap percentages to Treylon Burks, right? Only really getting like 50-60% of the snaps when playing until the end of the season. He has a game against Jacksonville 135 yards on 4 catches and a touchdown, and then kind of just popped off at the end of the season. Started seeing 80 plus snap shares basically every week. I don't know. Treylon Burks, I think, is a really tough player to accurately value in Dynasty right now because I definitely see both sides of the coin.
Yeah, the problem
And
is,
I have him in a lot of leagues. So.
the problem about Treylon Burks and how the Tennessee offense and their current philosophy, which I talked about with the Falcons, is typically year to year you don't see a big increase or decrease in terms of like where the team's like pass percentage was year to year. So the Tennessee Titans are very low. They're one of the lower teams in terms of passing plays. So unless there's a major shift in their philosophy, you are going to have to see AJ Brown kind of plays from Treylon Burks, which I do think like he is capable of, but you are asking a lot for him to end up boosting his overall value to that very high figure. So that's why I would like to pivot down into those kind of players like DJ Moore or Deontay Johnson. But I also wouldn't mind pivoting off players like a George Pickens or Jameson Williams into Treylon Burks either. Like I'm very, I don't know, even flow with how I feel about Treylon Burks. Do we want to move on to another guy that have
Yeah.
another Lunas reckoning dude saying now look, he's gonna use typical Lunas. Oh, there's Tony. He hurt his, I don't even know what he hurt this week. Ankle,
pulled his hamstring.
Oh, dude's always pulling his hamstring. I don't know what.
Hamstring's a nagging injury.
He just always is pulling his hamstring.
3 years.
Yeah. Thing is,
hamstring ended Julio's career.
Now look, here's the problem that I have with Sky Moore, because I'm just gonna retool it back to Sky Moore. It's going to be the month straight of us talking about Sky Moore. He produced with, like, Justin Watson's on the field.
Stat line?
It was like 70 something yards, I think, off like 4 catches. I'll find it.
Exactly. So, I mean, what he produced as being a wide receiver 1 when he's really the wide receiver
5 catches for 63 yards. Yeah, that's where I'm kind of falling on this too.
And he didn't even really produce because Travis Kelce had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
so.
Hardman is out. Yeah, MVS got hurt during the game.
MVS is not better than Sky Moore, though. I'll plant my flag on that one.
Yeah, I'll agree with you, but MVS is good at what he does. Like, okay,
not really.
Run a pro ball. Do it again.
Yeah.
Run a deep post.
But he's like slower. He's slower than I thought. Dude turns like a truck. Like he's not.
Yeah, that's why you just make him run straight.
I'll say this.
All gas, no brakes.
I'll say this. Bean Counter kind of. He's go follow him on Twitter at DF Bean Counter. He sarcastically kind of tweeted, but was very funny and true. It's better that Sky Moore is producing with nobody's on the field than not producing with nobody's on the field. So, look, I can't be that excited about Sky. I am the Sky Moore guy of this podcast, but I can't be that excited about him when I bashed Kadarius Toney last year for the same thing. It's like we waited for all the Giants wide receivers to get hurt before Kadarius Toney did anything. It's the same with how we have Sky Moore now. I'll just say, makes me feel better about buying him for that, like, early third. I think that's where he's valued. Late second, like I feel okay.
He went to an
about
early
that.
third.
Well, I think it's once again like JT was saying with a lot of these rookie receivers, you have to pay a little bit of a premium if they've gone down because the guy who has them is just willing to sit.
Yeah.
Now the question is, if you mass offer Sky Moore for a second, does it get accepted because of this week? And is it worth just fuck it, I'm out? Like,
yeah, probably gets accepted. Is it worth it? I think you're better off just holding on to him until the offseason, until I think Juju will probably be gone. I think MVS will probably be gone. You'll just have a better chance at the hype then to sell. If you're truly out on Sky Moore, you're just going to have that better opportunity to sell then than you are now. So might as well just wait. I see Jake nodding along.
That's my issue is that I just feel like the Chiefs have planned for this, that Sky Moore is going to be Juju Smith-Schuster next season. That what the role that they have Juju playing is what they have planned for Sky Moore.
Yeah, I mean, when they put him in the slot, he looked pretty good. Like it wasn't like he was, like getting lucky with his catches. Like he was creating space. He was getting his He's running good routes. Like it wasn't like a bad Sky Moore getting lucky, but
And then Cole and Tony are, Andy Reid's little freaking toys that you
Yeah.
can just draw up weird plays for.
yeah. On the other side of the ball, though, I have to update the Stardom Situm. I haven't put in the Monday night games. Brutal week for the Stardom Situm. Hope you didn't follow me last week. But Josh Palmer, with Mike Williams again getting hurt, classic Mike Williams fashion, kind of Kadarius Toney, the same thing. It's just these guys are always hurt. That opened up the door for Josh Palmer again because Gerald Everett was out. Keenan Allen was kind of on like a snap count with they're easing him back in with the hamstring. So it was Josh Palmer's day, and boy, did he pop. He had 8 catches for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is a very good fantasy day. I'm just like, I've seen like legitimate fantasy analysts question if Josh Palmer is actually a thing. I'm still in the camp of no, but feel free to change my mind, either of you two, if you disagree.
So I don't think he's like a wide receiver 1, but I do think he's a guy that will be a consistent, flex play or a wide receiver 3 in a pinch on a decent team that, he's going to get his targets. I think we've seen it this year. Mike Williams can't stay healthy. Keenan Allen's aging out. He's the next guy in line. They went out and spent a 2nd round pick on him, I believe. It might have been a 3rd. I can't remember. So they've put decent draft capital on him, and I like what I saw from him at Tennessee, but, that offense didn't pass the ball a lot, and now he's put an offense with Justin Herbert. So I think he's still learning to play the position, honestly, and I think he's getting better at every week. Do I think he's a wide receiver 1 or potential to be in Dynasty? No. But I do think he's a guy you can put in your flex every week if you really wanted to, and I think he'll get you, solid 8 to 12 points, something along those lines.
The problem I have with Palmer, and it's the reason why, because I had drafted him in the early third, in a decent amount of leagues, but then I kind of turned around and sold him I mass ordered him for seconds in every league I had him. I sold every Josh Palmer I had. And it's kind of twofold because, like, in terms of starting him now, like, if I were to put him in my starting lineup, am I sleeping on a nice comfy bed, like fucking Tempur-Pedic, all that stuff, nice juicy cold pillows? Or am I sleeping on a bed of nails, like questioning my existence for starting Josh Palmer? I'm sleeping on the bed of nails.
Stop for a second. Use the bathroom. Come back, Frank. Am I sleeping on a bed of nails, or am I starting Josh Palmer?
And then, even more so, long term, right? Like, do I think that this is a guy that's going to be part of the Chargers setup for more than, we've got him on the rookie deal for cheap? I'm also going to err on the side of probably no. There's definitely a chance, but I think when it's all said and done, if I can get a mid to anything above 2nd round pick, if I can get James Conner or give him up a little bit and a little bit more to get James Conner as a contender, I feel a lot more comfortable starting Conner in the flex. So I just think in every scenario, I'm trying to pivot off of Josh Palmer.
I think I don't know if all of you guys made your comments on it, but one last thing I wanted to say with Josh Palmer, I think he's proven that like he's a little bit better than like just like a Jag. So I'll give him credit for that. I think
Jake kind of made that point.
I think he's above that, and he's proven it. I think the one concern though with him, Mike Williams is still there long term. And if you want to argue Keenan Allen's getting older, won't stay healthy, you don't know how much longer he's going to be there. Fair, but I can nearly promise the Chargers are going to bring in a fast receiver this offseason. Their wide receiver core was kind of fucked by injuries. They don't have a single guy who can stretch the field, considering it's like you have.
Well, that is Herbert. Palmer, right? That's
he's
role.
not that guy. Like he's not a.
Well, I mean, he did against the Chiefs, right? He had like 2 long touchdowns, I think.
No, I know, but I think they're gonna actually like add like some legit speed. I remember last draft they were interested in Jameson Williams. We'll speak on him later, but I expect them to bring in another receiver. They don't want to be in a situation where depending guys like DeAndre Carter a lot.
Year. I guess that's a good way to put it, right? To me, Palmer, great number 3. If he's my number 2, I question if we're contending, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know. That's why I want to sell. I can see
I'm
why you
more in
want to
that camp.
hold though, right? Because if you look recently, his target share has been pretty fucking good on
Pretty good.
an offense that's just going to get better the healthier that Justin Herbert gets.
Well, it depends on what you're. Are you saying like you'd sell for like a late second, or are you saying you're looking for like a mid?
He's worth a mid-second on keep.
I
Late
think
second,
I'd
I guess,
still
on keep
mass
trade cut.
offer for just about any second, to be honest with you. And I know that might be
Yeah.
underselling a little bit, but
I agree with that.
I would accept a mid second, late second, like 211, 212. I don't know, because he has still produced.
I think he needs to string together another good week for him to really climb to that actually mid-second level price. I
want to
can't
see him
imagine
do it with all the Chargers healthy. Like I want to see
Because
him
he
do
needs-
it with a full Chargers
he
team.
needs to get into the realm where people are like, oh, well, when Keenan Allen retires, now Josh Palmer is going to stoop into like a wide receiver 2 role / wide receiver 1 with Mike Williams. And that's not what people are questioning right now. He needs to have another good week or two. And then people might be like, oh, well, when? And then the value goes up.
Sticking with this game, last thing, it looks like Isaiah Pacheco is now the Chiefs' clear-cut starting running back. I know that they kind of made that announcement like honorary kind of thing where they said Isaiah Pacheco was going to be the starter, and then he only ran the ball like 8 times when they first did that. But CEH got injured. Jerick McKinnon's out here fumbling, which I guess he hadn't done since 2017. And Isaiah Pacheco, I think Chris Collinsworth's own words, was running angry against the Chargers. Now, keep in mind, this Chargers defensive line, terrible.
The
I don't know.
49ers ran all over that team.
Yeah, 49ers ran all over him. I think Isaiah Pacheco, I thought he was the biggest bait of the preseason. I still think he's the biggest bait now because we're about to talk about another player, Melvin Gordon, where if this team signed Melvin Gordon, I think he just becomes the starter for this team because that's how bad I think Isaiah Pacheco is. He's not fast. He runs angry, which who knows what that means. But like, I don't trust Isaiah Pacheco at all. He doesn't bring a whole lot to the table that literally any replacement level back could. Like Latavius Murray got picked up for the Broncos. And I think Latavius Murray could have got picked up by the Chiefs and done the same thing that you're getting from Isaiah Pacheco.
Well, what is Pacheco's value? Is he at like a second type of value or is he at a third?
I would trade for any second, obviously.
He is, oh my God, he's ranked significantly higher than Josh Palmer. And Josh Palmer was a late second. He's in the realm of Juju Smith-Schuster, Darnell Mooney, David Montgomery, Cole Kmet.
Okay, well, if that's true, then he's in the realm of Pacheco plus a 2 for a 1.
Oh, easily would do that. Easily. He's ranked above a mid-second.
What?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wowzers in my trousers. I mean, I would do Pacheco in 2 seconds for a 1, to be honest with you.
Same. I was about to say second and third, but I think I'd go to 2 seconds. Well, I was originally going to say sell for any second, and I think at the end of the day I would, but clearly it kind of seems like you can get more. So I guess aim a little bit higher. But
when it says that you're ranked around a mid-second on keep trade cut, that probably means you're going to have to do a little work to try and get that kind of second. But
yeah, no, that's right. Probably
I think
means
there
that
are.
You can get the late.
The thing is, now's the time to do it because his
I was
snap share is increasing. So
not only that, I mean, if they pick up any of these free agent running backs, Melvin Gordon, Henderson, did the guy the Cardinals release get picked up? No, yeah, he did by the Texans.
Yeah, Benjamin got picked up.
Yeah, but those other two guys, Melvin Gordon or Darrell Henderson.
Well, Lunas has got a good point. If your team picks up Benjamin and that's like a legitimate scare by the Dynasty community, then I might question if you're worth picking up for that type of price.
If you have Jonathan Taylor and you're getting worried about, Benjamin, that's one thing. But we have Isaiah Pacheco and you're getting worried about Benjamin. All right, yeah. But okay, I did mention Melvin Gordon got waived by the Broncos. I'm not going to say it was like shocking because they really weren't using him a whole lot, and
the fumbling was getting so bad.
Yeah,
I think it was low key amicable because. Like Melvin Gordon showed on his Instagram. I agree with him, man. Those Broncos fans, since like the first day that he signed there, were just so brutal to the fucking guy.
Yeah.
Because, they bring in Javonte and everyone's like, it's like the whole quarterback thing. Like, oh, you have a 50-50 split. Why is Javonte not in the field the whole time? And now he's playing and Yeah, the fumbling's rough. I'll give it credit where credit is due, right? This year he was kind of rough. But nonetheless, his entire stint there, he was just destroyed by that fan base. So I felt like it probably just got to a point where it was like, dude, just fucking cut me. Like, I don't want to be here.
And it's like so stupid too, because it's like, do you think Melvin Gordon is deciding how many carries Javonte's getting in the backfield? Like the people who are mad at Melvin Gordon for stealing carries from Javonte, it's like, what do you think he makes that decision? Like, I don't know.
Where do we think he goes? I think LA. I think he's going to the Rams.
I'm gonna say Chiefs. I just think he wants one.
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to predict. I guess Chiefs. Rams, like, I understand the logic, but like, why are they signing a veteran running back?
I could see the Chargers.
Chargers, maybe.
Back to the Chargers. That would be interesting, but I don't think so.
I don't know. All their backs behind Eckler kind of sucked.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Is that like it's just if you're a team trying to win a Super Bowl, you can't continue just destroying Austin Eckler and expect him to stay. It's like the CMC theory, right? If you just give him 30 touches a game, he's gonna go down at some point.
Yeah,
it's not sustainable. He's not Derrick Henry.
The Jets.
Yeah,
just getting another
maybe the Jets.
I mean, they already spent
is Melvin Gordon better than James Robinson or Michael Carter?
Also, you're gonna go from a toxic fan base to the Jets, like.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say they're not a winning team though. They are. I don't know wherever they are, 6-4.
6-4, yeah.
Maybe I can't really see the Bengals. It's just not really.
Maybe the Eagles as a backup.
The Ravens.
Maybe the Ravens. I think you might hear the Eagles name around. The Eagles are always looking for someone they can add as like a backup.
All right, but enough speculation. Like, is he worth trying to trade for? Is he worth?
Fuck no.
No.
Okay. Just no across the board.
Well, actually, he was someone that we were saying last year that you should fucking like mass offer, and I did in the 3rd and 20 league. I forget what the move was, but it was like Gordon a 3 for a 2, and I'm very happy looking back at that trade.
Oh yeah, it's a great trade.
Great trade. All right. Well, the other running back that was waived was Lewis's guy, Darrell Henderson.
My sweet prince.
Frank kind of saw it coming. He saw the writing on the wall.
I was 2 weeks off.
Yeah. Came on Frank. Look, I don't know if I saw them waving him, but I knew he wasn't.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised. I'm not gonna lie. It was like a wave. Like, I mean, it's one thing if like they decide like, oh, let's go back to Akers, let's see how it is, or let's give. It looked like I think Kyren Williams had 60% of snaps last Sunday, leading all of their running backs. Yeah, I was surprised he was waived.
Tells me
what?
They're giving up on the season. That they're looking at Kyren Williams and Cam Akers and looking to see who they have going forward. If they don't sign anyone, because this is the classic Sean McVay. I would sign Melvin Gordon instantly, right? We saw it with like C.J. Anderson a couple years ago, Sony Michel, right? If he's not signing anyone, then clearly they're just looking towards, do we have a running back that we want for next year? We'll give Kyren Williams a shot. We'll give Cam Akers another shot to prove himself and see what the hell we got for next year. I think that's the only thing this says.
Yeah,
they're in a tough spot.
I don't know. Some of the same teams we listed for Melvin Gordon, I guess, will apply here.
I just think he's a worse Melvin Gordon.
I don't know. I don't think Henderson and Gordon right now. I view them kind of equal footing.
Right now,
that Rams O-line sucked.
Outside, because I think Henderson's cooked. But also, I think he's fucking cooked. But what about Akers and Kyren Williams? I personally am not buying either. I'm probably hard selling both of them.
I'm hard selling both.
But I'm willing to hear an argument to change my mind.
I'm hard selling both.
Hear me out.
I will.
So, are you going to die on the Akers hill again?
I just think he's going Kyren.
I'm going a bit of both. I'm going a bit of both.
All right.
I'm going a bit of both. First off, Cam Akers looked all right this week. I'm not going to lie. He didn't look great, but he looked all right. I think you need to realize that it takes more than a year to get back from an Achilles injury. So give him the year. We're starting to see him play better. I think this is his final chance with the Rams. If he comes out in the next few weeks and just doesn't produce, he's done. but I'm giving him these few weeks. And I think, honestly, if you can get him for a third, you do it. If you can get him for a 2 for a 3 swap, you think about it. Even a late second, I would think about, just because I like Cam Akers. I thought he was talented. I would prefer a third in this situation. If someone's just like, sure, fine, take him, I don't care. It's one of those. But I do like Akers, and I do think he's going to get a second chance here. On to my friend Kyron Williams. I loved Kyron Williams. If you listen to the pod, I was a big fan of his at Notre Dame. I think he fits the modern NFL. He's just a pass catching back. He's very patient back. I know Frank said that is just him not having the vision, and he's just bad. But I think he was thought he was a patient back.
He may have improved since then. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, what happened was his combine was horrible, and that drops his draft stock, immensely from potentially being a second or a third round running back to, I think he went in the 7th, right?
I think he may have been the late 5th. Basically the same thing.
Yeah, it was
Right.
5,
So
6, or
he
7.
had a massive fall, but honestly, I think that was a lot of people are like, I'm not taking the guy that ran a 4.6. I'm not taking the guy that had a slow cone drill. Like, I'm not like, it's a lot of metrics, but like, honestly, like, every time I watch the guy's tape at Notre Dame, he played well. He put up numbers, and he did everything you could ask for a running back to do. So do I think he's going to be the most fantastic running back in the NFL? No, he doesn't have that high end speed or that crazy breaking tackles like Derrick Henry and stuff like that. Do I think he could be a serviceable, 1B in a backfield? Absolutely. And I do think that if we let him, truly fill out into this pass catching back that we see be successful and around the league between Naheem Hines and all these other guys that are just specifically pass catching backs, I think there's a role for him in the NFL, and I think if you can get him for a 5th round pick or a 4th round pick, I don't even know what he's at right now on Keep Trade Cup, but if you can buy low for a pick that's almost certainly going to be nobody, I like that.
I was thinking it'd probably cost you a third to get him. Just with this news, he's got enough hype where you're not accepting anything less than a third, but a third might get you think. It depends on the person.
I mean, especially if you're a contender, like a late third to contenders, a pick that's nearly the 4th round, and that's you're swinging on a guy that has some upside. So if that's the case, I don't hate that move, especially for down the stretch and into the playoffs. Like, if you're trying to hit a home run here, like, that's your shot. Like, he's a guy you could pick up for late third. That might turn into a running back 2 for the playoffs. That's a big upside.
Where was he going in rookie drafts again?
3rd round.
3rd round.
Late 3rd?
Mm-hmm. Somewhere in the 3rd round. I forget exactly.
I mean,
where.
I don't hate the idea of just re-rolling. I'm sure, I think he'll get
opposite
the initial...
of re-rolling, buying in at cost, I guess.
Yeah, what is it? I think we'll get the initial shot over Akers. You got more snaps last week. We'll see. I'm not expecting really points from either of them. If I'm starting either of them in my lineup, I'm in absolute crisis mode, because that means like half my team is
sure,
injured.
but I don't think as a investment either of them are a bad buy right now.
The thing that I don't like about Akers right now is that it almost is like the 49ers backfield, in that all of the passing plays that the running back is going to get, Kyron Williams is on the field for and getting those opportunities. A lot of the running opportunities, it's been Cam Akers. And I think a lot of the game, the Rams last week were in like a 2-minute drill-esque type offense, was one of the reasons why Kyron Williams got a lot of those snaps. But the thing is, I would not put it past McVay, who has been wildly inconsistent with his running back usage. Week to week, it is fucking random, right? You got a better chance predicting it using a magic 8-ball than you do using statistics. But that is why I don't necessarily massively disagree with Jake. I'm not going to be buying, but we could see a week where Kyron Williams is given the opportunity as the lead back, has a really solid floor with getting a couple receptions, and then you can just sell for more than the third you purchased him for a week ago. That's a situation that is very intriguing to me. Now, the reason I'm not going to do it is because I didn't like Kyron Williams as a prospect. I don't think he's most likely improved enough. And this is the offense. So their total running back points per week, all their running backs, is at like 13.6 points per week, which is by far the lowest. The second lowest is the Steelers at like 18 and a half. Generally, I'm not going to be looking to invest in running backs at the team that is not scoring points at the running back position. It's just like, you don't buy a pizza at Burger King.
Can't have it your way. Yeah, I kind of echo Frank's sentiment there.
But I think there potentially is an opportunity to make some draft capital.
Okay, now time to let Lunas cook, because Jameson Williams is scheduled to return back to the Lions.
Yes, the prince that was promised.
Do you expect a slow start from him out of the gate off the injury?
Okay, so I don't think he's playing this week, Thanksgiving. It seems like, because it's like a short week, maybe if they were playing on Sunday, they said, but because it's only going to be like 4 days of practicing, they really expect him to come back. I mean, he might play limited snaps on Thanksgiving, they said, but really I'd expect a full game the following week against Jacksonville. So Thanksgiving game, I'm expected to probably be inactive. If not, maybe just play a little bit. But that Jacksonville game, I'll be keeping an eye on. I don't know. I still think he can step in and produce pretty soon. It's hard to judge because I haven't seen him. Like, I don't know if he's fully 100%. I'm assuming he is because I don't think they'd rush him back or anything. But I'm interested to see what they do in terms of snaps. If they immediately give him guys like, who are some of the receivers again? Like DJ Chark,
Khalif Raymond. Like off the jump, he's better than these guys. It just depends on like. And they got rid of Hawkinson, which opens up like.
He should have right away like the second most targets on the team, right next to Amon-Ra. I don't know. I'm excited for him, especially seeing how like a lot of these like speed young receivers have done those like first round. We saw like Olave. I don't know how you want to count Garrett Wilson and Treylon Burks, but between Olave and then Waddle last year, I think he can be just as good as those guys. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he followed like Jalen Waddle's kind of like career ranking.
Take Jalen's name out of your mouth in the same sentence as Jameson Williams, please.
No. I don't think that's a crazy thing. Jameson Williams would have been where did he go? 12? He would have gone top 10 heading out torn his ACL. Waddle went 5. Jameson had a better statistical year than any year than Waddle at Bama.
I'm just wondering, like, how, if I want in on Jameson Williams, let's say, like, I was scared of initially Amon-Ra and Hawkinson, but now that Hawkinson's gone, like, I like Jameson, right? We saw what some of these other receivers have done. How the fuck do I trade with him without massively overpaying?
You don't. And now is not the time to buy Jameson Williams. You let him have a slow start and have people get fucking panicked and then swoop it.
No one's going to... I don't think people will get panicked, though, if like the first 2 games back from an ACL tear.
No, I'm not saying 2 games. I'm talking like you let him play out the season, and then if he had a bad 6 games or whatever it ends up being, you go, okay, I'll take him off your hands. You don't have to worry about it. You can.
Because I just feel like the problem I have right now is that if I want to buy Jameson Williams, I have to buy as if he just got 100 yards last week.
Yeah.
No, because if he had 100 yards last week, he's moving up into the top 14 or 13.
Yeah, but that's the price. He's wide receiver 18 right now in Keep Trade Cut. Dude, he's ranked right next to George Pickens. If you drafted Jameson Williams, you are not accepting Pickens one for one. Maybe that's not
true. Is the Pickens owner accepting J-Mo 1 for 1 though?
It's like a fucking Mexican standoff. It's you three, Jameson, Treylon, and fucking George Pickens Mexican standoff.
It's the scene from The Office where they're just all pointing at each other and then just all
me and my Zach Wilson stonks were eating in the trash can. Like,
he's hiding in the corner.
I'm Oscar the Grouch right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, all right. I'll answer and then you guys answer. I have Treylon Burks. I am not trading him for Jameson or George Pickens straight. You have Jameson.
I wouldn't trade for either of those 2 receivers.
And then JQ with Pickens.
I will stand firm on Pickens. Thank you.
All right.
I think
we
great.
solve nothing.
How the fuck? Like, I gotta give 2 firsts to trade for him.
I did it without giving 2 firsts.
No, you don't need to give 2. I think 1 in a second and maybe a flex
I
play.
I gave contender a contender 1 and 2 contender seconds to get him.
But that's not that's higher. That's wide receiver like 12 price. That's you're buying him at a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's not wide receiver 18.
You have to because any young wide receiver.
If I see him go for 100 yards, he's the same
because
price.
then it's gonna no, because if he has like a blow up game like that, then it's gonna start to get into the 2 first range.
Why though? Like Garrett Wilson,
because people are already on him. There's a lot of people out there who had him like wide receiver 1.
Unless he comes out and is Justin Jefferson, his price isn't reaching 2 first anytime soon. The price hasn't reached 2 first on a lot of guys that are even
What's
higher.
Olave at?
I feel like I have to give up the price I'd give up for Olave that I would for James.
I mean, you probably will.
Not right now.
I disagree. It's overpriced.
I don't think right now you do. I think right now Jameson's cheaper than Olave.
I mean, I keep
like by a decent amount. He's like 10 spots down.
Let's see, James.
You have to get.
Yeah, but it's Fugazi. It's all
no.
It's a Wazzy. It's a woozy. You know, it doesn't fucking matter. I gotta give up all my draft picks for him.
You have to give up like Jameson Williams and a late second. It looks like early third maybe on top of Jameson Williams to get Chris Olave. According to Keep Trade Cut, which I think might be accurate. That might be, but it's just that Chris Olave is super.
Well, dude, though the guy who drafted Olave is like victory lap city right now. You have to give at least J-Mo in a second to get him.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm just not doing it personally.
I still stand by my wide receiver 1 and 2 that I had last spring, being Garrett Wilson and J-Mo.
Listen, I like J-Mo. I like I said, I was thinking about purchasing him, but I have to purchase him as a top 12 receiver.
I mean, I just don't
want to do that.
I just said I stand by Wilson and J-Mo 1 and 2. I don't think that's a crazy take. I'm not saying you have to agree with it, but I don't think.
Yeah, but see, all the guys that have J-Mo are you. They think the same way. Like,
he's the chosen one. He was. I'm telling you, man.
So why don't I just wait for his ass to put up 100 yards and then I'll give up the 2?
Because all the people like me, if we already value him like this now, if we have a game where it's like 130 yards and like including like a 50-yard touchdown, oh man. At that point, it's like he's Waddle. Like I'm just kidding. That's overreaction. But at that point, like it's like it becomes definite. Like
no, I don't think that's an overreaction. Price. I mean, maybe after 1 week it is, but
like if he has like decent amount of weeks, like it's not hard.
I don't want to. I honestly feel like okay, maybe I got to pay a smidge more, a smidge. But like, what is the realistic difference? Oh, a first and 2 seconds versus 2 firsts.
Yeah, well,
like
I also think Lunis's opinions on Jameson Williams aside, it's just when have we ever like other than like OBJ, when have we seen a rookie receiver come off a long injury and then all of a sudden just pop off? And even OBJ, I don't think OBJ had an ACL injury, right? I think it was like a quad or something. I forget what OBJ was.
I think it was a quad or a foot. I don't remember.
Yeah, whatever. It wasn't the ACL though, and the ACL we've seen it takes a while for players to come back from, like to fully ramp up from. So I just don't think we're going to see Jameson Williams step on the field when he's also next to Amon-Ra, who I actually like have started to buy into a little more, and also has DeAndre Swift in the backfield. It's Jared Goff's his quarterback. I don't think we're going to see Jameson Williams step on the field and give you 100 and something yards and 2 touchdowns right away, right?
I think it's going to be. I had a vision.
Sure,
it's the same vision I had of Tua at the beginning of the season.
Right. I definitely, I don't know which game it's going to be, but there'll definitely be a game where he has like a stat line similar to that, just because of the speed he has. There'll be a game where he breaks off like a 50-yard touchdown. But I'm confident in saying that between when he plays and the end of the year.
You're gonna make me look up his games, who he's playing. It's just like I just don't understand why you could pay it later. You don't have to pay it now. I'm more in Frank's camp in that term.
The more you wait, because once he has one of those games, if the Lions decide to draft Bryce Young,
I'm not gonna speculative buy on Jameson Williams coming off an injury for how high he's currently valued. It's just I'd rather just put my value somewhere else currently. But speaking of his opponent this week, who the Lions are playing, is the Buffalo Bills.
I'm still kind of doubtful he's going to play.
Yeah, I doubt he'll play.
Jacksonville's going to be the game I'm like judging him.
But the Lions are playing the Bills, and playing for the Bills is one James Cook. And do we have any opinions on James Cook potentially being the actual starter for this Bills team?
I've been very impressed with James Cook, actually.
He started off like as bad as he possibly could have with his opening fumble against the Rams.
That's just terrible luck, though, too. It's anyone can fumble.
But he's starting to turn on a little bit, I guess.
I'm not buying James Cook personally, but I will say that he looks a lot more powerful as a runner than he did at UGA, which is very encouraging because he was the type of guy at UGA, he was going down on first contact, basically if someone sneezed on him. And now you're seeing him force a couple of missed tackles. Obviously, I'm not doing the tracking for him, but I think that he looks like someone that is seeing some rapid development as the season goes on. And if you can pick up for pennies on the dollar, it's definitely an interesting buy.
So I have a couple things. Well, first off, this is going to completely depend on what his price is around. Is after this weekend game, what is it? Maybe second?
It's got to be somewhere in the second round.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure where in the second round. So here's the thing: like a lot of wasn't he like kind of going late first in some rookie drafts by the end of the summer?
Yeah, he was going late first in a lot of rookie drafts.
That was crazy. He kind of just got overdrafted because it was like a weaker class. I think talent-wise, he's around a mid-second round pick. And even though I have been impressed by James Cook, he's been better than I expected recently. I would kind of really think about if I can get like a mid-second pulling the trigger on that, because I still don't like fully shut out the idea that Buffalo brings in a running back this offseason to be like their main guy, because I don't see James Cook being like the main workhorse.
Buffalo might bring in Melvin Gordon tomorrow, for all we know.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon, but like someone legitimately in the draft. Like it's like whether with their second or third round pick. Because that's kind of been the one thing their offense has been missing all these years of Josh Allen has been a consistent running game, like a true main running back. They kind of have these smaller receiving guys. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're just like, okay, we're going to spend a second round pick on like one of the best college running backs to be like a main guy and actually have a consistent running game. So that's kind of what scares me with Cook, because is Singletary is he a free agent after this season?
See, that's my problem, is that if they bring in another running back, to me, that's a Singletary problem.
Yeah, but what if Singletary becomes like the kind of main second guy and then James Cook is kind of stuck at 3? Yeah, unless you think James Cook surpasses Singletary.
I just think that James Cook, they clearly want to use him in those like passing game-esque downs, right? And Singletary has been the bruiser. We've seen James Cook now start to have some nice production in between the tackles. And the other reason I think it's interesting, because I do not like James Cook. I'm not a James Cook believer. But the fact of the matter is, with young running backs, people can't stop themselves from having absolutely absurd valuations of these motherfuckers. You can have 2 good games and all of a sudden you're worth a first round pick, right? So like, I'm looking at James Cook's value. His value is apparently at Chase Claypool, Allen Lazard, 2023 late second. If he has one good game on Thanksgiving against the Lions, right? This is not the fucking 85 Bears. Yeah, they've got a good D-line, but it's, the Lions are pretty good at getting rocked on Thanksgiving. This dude's value could be a first next week, right? It's actually no, wild.
You're right in terms of
a young running back. It's just like fucking one good game, boom, 9 firsts. Like it's nuts.
No, I should have rephrased what I said. I don't think you should sell right now. I was more so like speaking and thinking like before this offseason free agency and the draft where Buffalo could possibly add that other draft. I'd probably hold on to him through the rest of this year because it looks like they're incorporating him more, and the highest price you'll be able to sell at is like in between when the season ends and before free agency.
I just think,
and this free agency the free agent running backs this year are loaded. Like they'll have a chance for a guy.
Yeah, I just think James Cook, similar to Kadarius Toney, is a player that I don't like, but just can garner that hype where it's, if you're willing to take the roller coaster ride, it can be a good payoff, I guess is how I'd word it. But I just have a hard time going out trying to get James Cook now for, well, I have learned is Alan Lazard is a screaming sell, but trying to get
attacking Alan
James
Lazard
Cook
in every segment.
It's just like every time
it has like nothing to do with him. You're just like you're like
player, like, oh yeah,
it's like we're talking on like random players, and you're like, I'm kind of about it, but at least he's not Alan Lazard.
I mean, yeah, Frank brought up Alan Lazard in terms of who he's ranked around.
These things are nuts to me because you look at Kenneth Walker, Dameon Pierce, like all these young running backs who aren't in the top 15 points per game for their position are valued like top 5 dynasty backs. And okay, if that's the precedent we're setting, you just need to get 13 points a game. As a pass catching back that can see like 10 carries a game, that is not hard. That is not hard. You just need to play like 50% of the snaps.
I agree. It's just a roller coaster that, like, when it goes up, you better get off quick because you run out of tracks. Like it's gonna be a crash.
I see James Cook being like a Cam Akers. Like I feel like we could see this guy. We could see him at the end of the year / playoffs having a couple good games.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, boom, top 10 dynasty back. Like it's wild. We see it time and time again with these guys that they get wildly overvalued, and then the true profiles and talent show a lot of the time. So I just think that at the price he's listed at right now, I'm not a James Cook. I can't believe that I'm saying this, but it just feels like if you want to turn a second round pick into a first, I really can't point out more of a player that's got a better shot at this point in the season and going from a second round pick to a first.
That's fair. I think that's all
sure.
Fair. I do think his value will go up between now and the end of the year. So I agree with you with that.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have much to add on it. I don't think it's worth whatever.
We still doing stock market?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I hope if I switch the scene, it's not going to fuck up the recording. All right, everyone, hold your breath. Oh wait, hold on. All right, everyone, hold your breath.
I'm holding my breath.
Oh sweet. Oh, we're in the wrong boxes, but I guess it's whatever. Fuck, I'm JT. Now I'm in last.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's just like, all right, and now we're all switching teams. Like,
oh, I'm Frank. Okay, that's not terrible. Jake's me. Oh man. Okay.
All right. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Another episode of the Dynasty stock market. Yeah, we're doing it today because tomorrow's Thanksgiving Eve, so it's just going to be kind of a shit show to do it tomorrow. I guess the live rankings are on the screen. Biggest winner this week was JT. JT went up about 1,000. The rest of us had relatively modest weeks.
Wait, everyone be quiet. Jake, do you hear that? You hear that, Jake? It's me. I'm coming, Jake. I'm right there. I'm right there, Jake.
JT. You might be coming, but you're going to be coming for a long time. You're going to stay back there. It's fine. You can keep creeping, but it's not going anywhere.
I'm not going to say what I thought.
A little sus
head,
there, Jake.
Yeah, I'm not,
I didn't want to say anything. I just kept going.
I was like, how long is he going to keep that going for?
Dude, no, the part I was like, come on, was when like when he said like you're gonna stay behind me for a long time. I was like, all right, man, like what are we doing?
Best episode.
It's getting a little weird.
It's like, what are we doing here?
All right, so I'm selling Kyle Pitts.
Someone start selling players.
He tore his MCL. I don't see him going up. I'm going to sell Kyle Pitts.
I didn't catch that part at first. I only made process the first part. He's gonna stand behind me for a long time.
We're trying. If you're listening on a podcast, this is tough. I don't even know. This wasn't released a podcast. I don't know if it's gonna.
No,
be
it's
on
a
the
video
though.
podcast, dude. We changed that up.
Oh.
We're like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
no,
video
but for the
podcast.
stock market goes on to video podcast too.
oh,
Oh
no,
my
the
God.
stock
Yeah,
market's
yeah.
not a podcast.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's gonna release out there,
my
but
God.
yeah. Yeah,
All right,
Okay.
Oh boy,
Let's get it
All right,
going.
we're resetting.
We're gonna,
you're selling Kyle Pitts.
Selling Kyle Pitts towards MCL.
I mean, that makes sense. You don't want to be put
I
behind.
don't know if he tore it. Yeah. I knew I was trying to figure out how to do it. You got it for me, thanks. All right. I'm struggling. Another player that I'm going to let me get him off my team. see
I have Kyle
Pitts.
Pitts too. I'm so glad he only went down 56.
Yeah.
I was coming into today. I'm like, shit. For like the 90,000th time, I'm gonna be burned by Kyle Pitts. But it was only 56 points. That is so lucky.
Mm-hmm. We are getting out at the right time. I don't know. We lost 50 points on him, but whatever. It was worth the dart throw. Next player that I'm selling is another player who tore his ACL, Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't know. I feel like that doesn't have to be explained. Dude is out. Now I'm looking across my team. How many times am I gonna get fooled by Russell Wilson? I don't know.
yeah, you gotta give it up, man.
Didn't he have a decent week last week?
He didn't score a lot of fantasy points, and the team lost. So it's just like who? Oh,
How the fuck did they lose that game? by the way?
because they I don't know, they suck.
Wait,
They're very good at building a first half lead and then just throwing it away.
Wait, who?
The Broncos.
the Broncos.
Oh my God, yeah.
Definitely gonna sell
Shit
Baker
show.
Mayfield though, as I'm looking at my team. So I'll just do the easy ones right out of the way. And Baker out of here. Jonathan Taylor went up 250 points. I think he's the RB1 right now as far as like healthy current running backs. I'm just wondering like who's he playing this week? That's the question. He's playing the Steelers. I think that's favorable towards Jonathan Taylor. I'll stick with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, you should.
Treylon Burks, he went up a ton. Do I think am I still going to ride the train on Treylon Burks? Because I did say there were players that I'd pivot off of too, but he's playing them. Now I'm going to sell Treylon Burks. I'm going to cash out here. I'm going to avoid any overcorrection in case people went too hard on Treylon Burks. So I'm going to sell him. Jarvis Landry, I think, is fine. He's healthy. Michael Thomas isn't around. I think he's going to get points. I think, maybe you'll have some account say, here's some veteran wide receivers that you should pick up for the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if Jarvis Landry fell into that list. OBJ definitely staying. Deshaun Watson definitely staying. So it's just a question of Russell Wilson, Noah Fant, Cordell Patterson. For right now, I'm going to hold those three and let you guys make moves. And then I reserve the right to sell those guys later.
Okay.
Who's next?
All right, I got my sells down, so I'm gonna be selling Darius Slayton. I think I kind of lucked into more of an increase than I should have got from the Wan'Dale injury. He's just 2,000. He's starting to reach a second round pick. To me, that's just overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
T. Higgins, unfortunate that he only went up 69. Nice. He tore up the Steelers. So I'm pretty sure like he was the popular buy last week because we kind of all expected that to happen. I'm gonna sell Rondale. I don't think the injury is serious, but with Hollywood probably coming back this week, I can't imagine that the hype train is going to start bringing him up to a first round pick without some seriously good performances. Is Tony injury like? Is this going to be a long term? I'm just going to sell Tony. I don't want
I'm sorry.
to.
Hamstrings are tricky.
Well, especially Tony's hamstring. It's like his
Yeah.
fucking kryptonite. Just gonna get out there. I'm very tempted to sell Deontay, but dude, he should have had a good week last week. Kenny Pickett missed him on a couple plays. He had a fucking first play of the game. There was like a 90-yard touchdown he could have had that he missed. Shout out Ben Roethlisberger for pointing that out. But and Garrett Wilson, man, I got to keep Garrett Wilson. So, those are my sells.
Okay. Jake, do you want to go first or should I go?
Sure, why not? I'm gonna hold Hollywood. He should be back this week. Garrett Wilson, I'll hold on to him. I don't think he should go down. Should have gone down this much. Daniel Jones, I'm gonna take my 220 and get out because Giants play in Dallas on Thanksgiving. They're going to get their shit rocked.
Who's he even throwing to?
Yeah, so he's got to go. I'm gonna sell Justin Fields. I think he's just gone up so high that there's not much more room he can go right now. That paired with the injury, I'm just gonna get out now.
Dude, look at you. Will Fuller went up 102.
I know,
bro. He's gonna sign with the team, and then he's gonna go up like 1,000. Quez Watkins also gonna sell. Went up 100. Take it. Move on. Will Fuller gotta keep. Saquon, I am gonna sell him too. Just get out on the Giants this week, and then hold Pickens, hold Watson. That's my sells.
Okay. My buys. For my sells, I'll sell Miles Sanders. They're playing Tennessee. I don't like that matchup. I'll sell Mike Williams. There's gonna be a lot of sells. I'll sell Wan'Dale Robinson. I'll sell Rondell Moore and Kyle Pitts. Is there anyone else I want to sell? Tony. Do you guys get all those?
I believe so.
Cool. And then I think those are all my sells.
You're selling Tony, correct?
Yeah, I'm selling Tony.
all right. That's actually kind of quiet for a Lunas week in terms of sells. Buys. I'll kick it off with one buy that I definitely want to do. That's Keenan Allen. I hop on the train. He looked good. He was limited, but he looked solid. What I screw up there? Thanks. So buying Keenan Allen. I don't know who next to buy. The issue is I typically do my start and sit him before if you want an inside JT, so I know who's got good matchups. I've not done the start him sit him yet.
Well, good. Maybe I'll start making points. I had to.
Yeah. All right. So like intriguing ones would be like a Terry McLaurin. You know who I kind of want to buy though? Oh, they're playing the Eagles. I kind of want to buy Romeo Dobbs.
JT's gonna start coming from behind.
We're reaching. We're starting to reach.
Yeah, sorry, I had to. I couldn't contain it.
All right, wait. What am I doing wrong? Because why does mine say I have 1152, 11,522 in the bank, but I do not clearly. Oh, because Traylon Burks didn't. All right, so I can kind of buy anyone. I kind of want to buy Garrett Wilson, but you guys were shaky on Garrett Wilson. I don't know.
Dude,
Do
I
you guys?
just think that value doesn't match the price, man. I think realistically, Garrett Wilson is worth a lot more than that
Yeah.
49, 46.
No, you're paying top 10 price if you're getting Garrett Wilson.
You're saying stick with Garrett Wilson. Go in on Garrett Wilson.
I'm sticking with Garrett Wilson personally.
Okay. Intriguing. I want to. Let me see. Anyone else I want to buy? Oh, I have one actually. Let me see how much he is and make sure he should definitely be. Yeah. Okay. This is gonna be gross. But I'm gonna do it. Paris Campbell.
That is disgusting.
He's been
kidding.
producing.
He's been okay.
And they've been using him in an intriguing role.
He's been good when Matt Ryan started.
Yeah. So I mean, he's ranked under Terrace Marshall still. My sweet prince. So I'll go and buy Paris Campbell. I don't know. I'll turn it over to you guys though if you have any buys because I'm still.
I've got 5 buys for sure. So
Sure.
if you guys want, I could just rip them real quick.
Let's hear him.
Go ahead.
Like I was saying before, who do I think has the best chance of going from a second to a first? I think it's arguably James Cook. I will buy him.
Okay.
I am going to chase the hype on Tony Pollard because I think that this is finally the awakening that this Dallas coaching staff needed to use Tony Pollard as the main back. And I think even with Zeke back now, Tony Pollard is a low-end RB1 at least. I'm going to tail Jake and get George Pickens. And not only George Pickens, I'm going to get Kenny Pickett.
Oh.
Who do they play this week?
We play the Colts. I don't think it's a great matchup, but I actually really liked what I saw out of Kenny Pickett during that Bengals game. I think that we saw rapid development, mostly because I thought he was navigating the pocket well. He was getting to his check down, which he hadn't done before, started to stretch the ball downfield a little bit. You saw that Pickett to Pickens connection really established. I'm hoping that he gets a little bit more comfortable, and then we start seeing him take more consistent deep shots to a guy like Deontay. And dude, honestly, I think the Steelers, like, if you look at their weapons, we have the fucking dudes on the offensive side of the football.
They do. Yeah, Freiermuth, Deontay, Pickens, and Najee.
Yeah, if Najee starts playing well now and the offensive line, is at least average, I think we got a good group. Yeah. And oh shit, I don't have enough cash. Who do I sell? I'll sell the schmuck Van Jefferson. Yeah, I'll sell the schmuck. I listen, like I was saying in the Dynasty episode earlier, I want to buy this guy, but he's too expensive. But not on Keep Trade Cut, he's not. Jameson Williams. I'm pulling a Lunas.
We have a bunch of the same buys.
I think, like I said, I had a vision of Jameson Williams running into the end zone on a long touchdown. I think he might be a fantastic receiver. So I will buy him gladly at 4,800.
Dude, Stance Baratheon out here off visions.
Dude, you have to trust it. Okay, I can list off. I have a bunch of mine written. One of mine is also Jameson, so you could throw
Makes
him
sense.
on. Like I said, I have a lot of similar ones with Frank. I'll also do Tony Pollard. Who else? I want to get James Cook. How much do I have that left after that? 10,000. Cool. I will take Keenan Allen.
$7,500.
Are the Chiefs on bye this week?
I fucking hope not.
I don't think any team's on bye. Plus, I think the Chiefs already had bye.
Let me just double check, because if not, then Sky Moore.
The Chiefs are playing the Rams.
Okay, yeah, Sky Moore. Do I have enough for one more after that?
You're 46.85.
Can I go Michael Gallup? Actually, check that. Did I already say Keenan Allen?
Yeah.
Oh, I did? Okay, then yeah, Michael Gallup.
I feel like Gallup looks good. He just doesn't get.
He just
enough
hasn't
targets.
started producing yet. I feel like it's got to happen at some point.
Damn, his value is very low.
It's really
though.
low. And if he has a good game on Thanksgiving against the Giants, I feel like he could be a sneaky guy to go up a ton.
Dude, fuck you, Lunas. Stop buying all the same people as me. I need to make.
Dude, I don't know. I had a list. That's how I was able to just read them off. We just had a lot of the same guys. I still have 2,000 left. What do I want to do with this? I could sell Skoronic and get someone with 3,000. Jake, make your buys real quick while I consider this last one.
You're muted, Jake.
I got a few off rip. One being Michael Gallup. I was going to do that. I think the Giants are just very injured this week, and Michael Gallup is going to have his breakout game on Thanksgiving.
And also Dory Jackson.
Yeah, the whole Giants team is just banged up right now. The next guy I'm going to put up 2 tutties last night. That's George Kittle. I think he has a connection here with Jimmy G. I don't know why that's not working.
Yeah, what the hell? Why is that?
He should be around 40.75.
All right, just throw him in for now. I don't know why that's not. Working.
All right. The next guy I was going to buy, I don't know how legal this is, but I'm going to go with Odell. Tell me if I'm not allowed to.
Y'all already have him. That's weird that George Kittle's not popping up. He's 39.74.
Why is Odell not packing up either?
Well, that's definitely spelled wrong. Backham.
Mm-hmm.
Still not working.
Yeah, what is going on? Hold on a second.
Probably a code thing then.
$122. Oh, we can just manually input the values for now because we know these guys. What the hell's these, yo? I don't know what's going on.
All right, I could do it. All right, so OBJ's value is this. And then it doesn't really matter, but Kittle,
change doesn't really matter.
What I say Kittle was? I just said earlier.
39 something or another.
39.74. Change to 16 if you want to include that.
39.74. Change 16.
I wonder if there's some space that you have. Yeah, wait. Hold on. I think I found it. Yep, I know exactly what happened here. There's space after both of them.
We got bamboozled.
Nah.
Okay,
all right.
Back to the formula.
Well, all right. The last guy I have off rip is Cam Akers. I am going to play this game one more time and see where I end up. So that's I have 7,800 left, so I'm gonna have to look a little more for the rest, but that's my start.
Okay, I have some more moves I would like to do. I am going to end up selling Russell Wilson. I don't know why I just used 2 of those because I could just fill in, and I am going to tail Lunas on getting Sky Moore, and then I have a couple other players I want to buy. One being kind of a shocker because it's been so bad recently. But DeAndre Swift, just think,
Oh, that's a good one.
yeah, buy when everyone's going against him, kind of zig when everyone's zagging.
I'm also gonna grab him just
All right.
because.
Wait, hold on,
Hey,
Lunas. I gotta get you back in the scene.
48.86 is DeAndre Swift's price.
How do I?
You could just copy him from me if we need
I
help
got him.
spelling. Yeah. All right, so I'm getting DeAndre Swift, and then I'm also picking up Trey McBride here. He didn't really do anything. Frank and I might have given some advice to pick him up. It didn't work. But even with Hollywood coming back, Zach Ertz is out. At some point, I think he's going to put it together. The 49ers with Colt McCoy just wasn't exactly the formula for success for Trey McBride that we need to see. So I'm going to pick up Trey McBride. I'm debating if I should sell Cordell Patterson and go big.
Is Kyron
Or just buy
Williams
a
embargoed
2K5.
this week?
I would be down to embargo him.
Up to you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm down to embargo him,
Okay.
but I wanna. Someone I want to buy, but who do I sell?
Todd White is expensive. Yeah, players in this zone.
You know what? I'm gonna do an ugly last buy. An ugly one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Frank went Tony Pollard.
I was thinking about him, Jake.
I'm gonna go Zeke.
I was thinking about it.
Oh,
I definitely spelt that wrong.
I think it's IEL in Ezekiel.
I actually spelled him around the transaction tracker.
No, never mind. I fucked it up.
How do you spell it?
EZEKIEL
Yeah.
space
there's two T's.
ELLIOTT.
There we
Okay,
go.
I did get it right.
Um.
It's not the two T's.
All right. I do have another move that I would like to. Who am I missing on your team though? Jake?
Real quick, can I just do one
Yes,
thing?
sir.
I'm gonna tail Jake on that. If I have enough, can I sell Skowronek and buy Zeke?
JT, you want to know who you should buy? You should buy Juwan Johnson.
Yeah. We're not gonna talk about it. All right. Lunas wants to sell. Ronick buy Zeke. Yeah, so you should have a bank of 449.
He's got a bank of 440. Yeah, 449.
Yeah, okay. So
All right. JT,
hold
you
on.
got a 2K left.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what I screwed up on Jake's because Jake's the team that I tend to screw up because on mine I have 2130. Jake only has 208. So who did Jake? Oh, you bought OBJ. That's right. We were struggling to figure that out. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sell Cordell Patterson. And who was that player that I wanted to buy? I was just looking at him. Not Donovan Peoples-Jones. Oh, yes. I don't
Alan
know.
Lazard.
Yeah, I trashed them all. This was all scheme. No. Who I want is... I'm just checking the news on him to make sure.
Who?
I don't know. I'm just going to buy him. J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, I was gonna say, give me the fucking name.
J.K. Dobbins. I don't know what exactly is going on, but there's a period in between. I think J.K. Might be a period after K too. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just think he's very.
Why is he not
underpriced.
back yet? Like,
Who?
There's another
J.K.
knee
Dobbins.
injury.
J.K. Dobbins? I don't know, but he's fallen too low.
Yeah, 36-15. He's barely above Jamal Williams.
he just needs to start playing. I actually do like that buy, but I ain't got the cash though.
Right. That was all my moves.
All right, yeah, this episode has ran long, so
I mean, it's 2 episodes basically.
yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps us out. Thanks for showing up in the chat, lads. We really appreciate it.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Thank
happy
you guys for
Thanksgiving,
watching.
everyone. Make sure you set your fucking lineups because
Yeah.
it's a lot of
Games
games.
start
Game
noon.
starts at noon, not 1. They start at noon.
Yeah, so make sure you get those lineups in, bro. You gentlemen as well. But yeah, thank you so much. Good luck in your fantasy matchups. We'll see you next Tuesday. Peace out.